keep swinging and be that leader that could set the bar.
Yeah, and when we're talking about changes that Echo Fox made with 5 new people and it coming up in spades, look at FlyQuest. There are 6 people that are on stage during Champion Select. 4 of them are different now for FlyQuest as starters. They changed 3 of their starters with Santorin, Keen, and Kwon, and they brought in St. Vicious to coach. So we're looking at a completely different FlyQuest here, and you want to start off the season by taking down the exact same roster that got 3rd place and prove that you made a lot of the right choices.
Well, let's see how they start off these picks and bans. Brand and Lucian banned out by Echo Fox. FlyQuest deciding they don't want to deal with Camille, and of course, you have to ban Talia on red side these days.
Talia, Irelia, I think are pretty much bans that you should be throwing out there. I think Zoe, as people learn her, and that the fact that you can actually abuse the Hex Flash is another one. But right now, I'm looking at Irelia is up, a big flex pick, but they're going to go with the Shen.
Shen locked in immediately for Echo Fox. Not like it even took him a lot of time to think about that one. Graves, the final ban that did come out there from FlyQuest, as we see what they want to go for here in this first rotation. Thinking about the Lulu, we've seen an awful lot of this pick so far, Zirene.
Yeah, the Lulu, flexible to both support and to mid, but you could also play it as a bot lane carry. And then for Echo Fox, the Shen kind of serves the same purpose. It can go to the support position as well as the top lane. And so we're looking already at Nocturne, potentially a takeaway here, because Shen Nocturne is a good combination.
Ooh, could go towards something a little different, and they will. Zhao locked in for Santorin here for this first game with FlyQuest. We'll have to see how that works out for him. He does have the Lulu to keep him strong there on the front line. Zhao, one of those champions, likes to build some damage, likes to get in there.
Yeah, and Zhao has this really cool thing about him now where people, they realize like you run Phase Rush on him. There's Nimbus Cloak, the new mastery that you can bring out. And then when you use the ultimate, you just run around and make sure no range damage comes out on you. You can block all of it. And right there, a Yasuo for Echo Fox.
Oh, baby. Yasuo locked in means we are going to have some excitement this game one way or the other. Echo Fox with 1 pick left to go before we get to the second part of the ban.
And my favorite part about this is like, you don't know exactly where this is gonna go. And for FlyQuest, when WildTurtle, he was given kind of the opportunity to play any bruiser ever in the show match, he went with Yasuo. Echo Fox are gonna take it away, and they take multiple bruisers away here. And you don't know where these are going. Who's mid, who's top, and honestly, sometimes the players don't even know until the 5th pick.
And I talked about how Lulu, we've seen a lot of Lulu so far in different regions across the world. Both of these picks, Yasuo and Irelia, also very prominent so far. We've been seeing plenty of selections for them, and Ornn, yet another staple that comes up time and time again. So we are seeing players and teams sort of figure out what feels the best, even in what could be described as a very chaotic game state overall.
Yeah, and you can see Coach Anero talking about what they're going to be playing in which role on Echo Fox here and what they're going to be picking up. And St. Vicious, the same thing for him. This guy has always been an innovator when it comes to metas. Every time he's slotted into a coaching position or been on a team, he's always wanted to be ahead of the curve. Even when he's not playing professionally or coaching, he's always talking in his videos about what's strong in the meta, what isn't, and are those sleeper picks.
Well, talking about what's strong in the meta, I've seen plenty of Vlad. We've seen Aatrox a couple of times already today. Renekton, the same can be said for him. And even Mordekaiser has seen appearances since the beginning of Summer Split. So all of those champions taken off the board. Let's see how FlyQuest want to respond to this now. They've already got what I'm assuming is a mid laner, a jungler, and a top laner. But then again, you never know because Swain also locked in now. It's so hard to predict exactly where all these picks are going to be headed.
Yeah, and Swain has been played as a bot lane carry and as a mid lane carry, and potentially top lane as well. And it's funny because I've talked to some teams, and the coaches are always saying, okay, we're always formulating who's going to go where, who's going to pick what, all the contingencies. I talked to some players, and they literally get the 5th pick locked in, and they turn to their coach, and they're like, what am I playing? Yeah. Which champion is actually
mine? Which one is me, by the way? Well, Mundo's locked in on the side of Echo Fox. Another big power pick there that has just proved to be nigh unkillable in a lot of situations. And why not? 5 melee strong on the side of Echo Fox. Who needs ranged damage when we've just got a whole cauldron of meatballs?
And Zhao ultimate is now looking like it's going to do a whole lot of nothing except just push people back. The damage reduction doesn't really matter because it's only people who are outside of the radius. And so 5 melees. Echo Fox, they love fast-paced games. Huni always loved to push the tempo of games. And if you have 5 bruisers, you want to start the game off strong. You want to become this gigantic ball of stats that cannot be dealt with. And the only thing that I really know, like, for sure here, or 90% sure of, is that Trundle is going to be in the jungle, and the rest of it is kind of up in the air. Shen is probably the support. Irelia is best in the mid lane, but I think it would probably be Altec on the Yasuo in the bottom side, unless Huni is going to play Yasuo bot lane, and Altec will be Dr. Mundo top.
So we're switching the roles entirely themselves, potentially, on the side of Echo Fox. I don't want to step out of bounds here and say anything before we see exactly what it is, but the sky's the limit right now for this composition. 5 melee champions. Something that, if you would have locked this in last split, you're trolling. Everybody, all we would have been doing was sitting here making up something to say where we rated for the remake because there was some sort of an issue. But now the meta is wide open. Everything is a possibility, and Echo Fox are here to demonstrate exactly what you can do with such creative freedom going up against FlyQuest.
And we've talked a lot about Echo Fox's composition because it's really exciting. FlyQuest side, once again, they have a lot of engage with the Ornn. The wind wall will deal with that. Zhao now doesn't have a ranged champion that his ultimate will negate, but there is the Lulu and the Swain and the Tahm Kench. Great defensive tools against melees.
And honestly, both sides don't have a marksman. But aside from that, the composition for FlyQuest is pretty normal. And we've seen success from normal styles of compositions. Earlier today, we opened up with a composition from Team Liquid that was pretty standard compared to most other things, and they walked away with the win up against 100 Thieves. So just because FlyQuest aren't making everybody scratch some heads doesn't mean they're out of this one just yet. By the way, Zirene, you are correct, sir. Pump that fist up in the air. It's Altec going into the top side with Dr. Mundo.
I was sitting there, and you know, I've talked to a few people, like it even happens in other games, in other MOBAs, where people play specific roles or champions. You're like the assassin player, right? And then when something gets locked in champions, like you flex around the positions. And in League of Legends, when people have gotten to the point where they actually understand what to do map-wise, and everybody's running TP so you can swap around anyway, it could be something like Huni becomes the split pusher later on this Yasuo when he actually has the kind of the resources from the laning phase, because his double relic shield, he's in the bottom side.
And this is one of the questions that honestly a lot of people who watch the LCK over in Korea were questioning in a game recently where Faker was put on mid lane Taric duty while the jungler played Master Yi. And a lot of people were concerned about that, thinking, why wouldn't you put Faker on the carry? But right now it's Flame who has found himself stuck in a spot where he has to flash over that Krug wall to stay safe from the Echo Fox topside duo.
And the minions have spawned, and we're seeing an invade on the bottom side here. Potentially, it might be a setup because Fly went to the other side, and now they're invading the red buff to try and swap them over. But Huni and Adrian are going to go ahead and push the bottom lane. This is funny because Huni, I remember when he kind of was playing top lane and felt like he didn't have enough agency. He's like, I want to swap to ADC. Well, now he's a bot laner. He's kind of getting his goal of having a support here. We'll see what he's able to do up against WildTurtle on this Swain.
Nice taunt there. They still get him. The first blood immediately over to Echo Fox.
Man, it doesn't matter where Huni goes. He's going to start decimating and destroying the game right off the bat. And this is one of those decisions that you look at and you go, damn, they really did have a good draft, and they're playing to their strengths. They're not just playing the meta, and they're swapping the players around. And that's what you want to see, is how do you prepare for that coming in scrims?
Well, apparently they were not prepared to be able to address that one right here. And now let's take another look at how they set this one up for the side of Fox.
Yeah, Huni, they just walk up. You have to go all the way around. They shove the wave. WildTurtle doesn't want to miss experience. He gets taunted, and then they flash after both of them. The ignite to follow, and the Q. It's just one of those situations where you gotta walk all the way around, and Turtle blows both his summoner spells.
And if you're Echo Fox, it's exactly what you need to see, because with 5 melee champions, with all these bruisers, if you don't get that early tempo, if you don't get ahead like that, you can quickly find yourself in a spot where you're trying to run into an Ornn and a Lulu and a Tahm Kench and Swain. It feels awful, and those tools are going to be limited. So this kind of a start, exactly what the doctor ordered here for Echo Fox, as Adrian will head back down into the bottom side. Altec, not afraid of Flame here in the top part of the map either. Not where he's used to playing, but it doesn't seem to be getting to him in any way just yet.
Yeah, and the Dr. Mundo, I really do like this pick. Because there's so many bruisers, he gets that extra movement speed, gets to run around, deal a lot of damage, and then when he hits level 16, his ulti got buffed. But look at this, Dardoch's gonna take aggro.
Dardoch wanting to try to hold the aggro, but he does go down, walks back, and ends up taking that extra turret shot, makes it a 1-for-1. but that's still quite a lot of gold being lost to the turret in the form of that massive minion wave.
Yeah, that was perfectly done by Flame. Even though he was levels down, he was able to get the brittle off, hit Altec, then he smashed his head into the turret with the E and got another knockup. So the damage was reduced very heavily because Dardoch is taking aggro and has to walk away, and then Altec doesn't get to auto during this time. So watch this. Brittle goes down, hits Altec, then he smashes against the wall, and that during that time, that's where the extra shots come out.
It buys just enough time to make Dardoch doubt that he can get his teammate out. He goes back and eats that extra turret shot. 1 for 1 in the top side means we've still got ourselves about a 1,000 gold game overall. As you can see, Fenix getting shoved in the mid lane here right now. Sort of just waiting to scale up on this Irelia so he can be that big threat towards this Lulu after he has a bit more playmaking potential. Bottom side, it's Kwon in some trouble. Huni dashing and slashing forward. Looking to go after Turtle if he can. Finds the knock-up onto that one. Kwon having to walk away now. Both junglers now going to show up as Adrian gets a little bit too close to the turret for comfort. They do get a kill onto Kwon. It's going to be 1 for 1 so far as Turtle cleans up Adrian.
Man, and as this goes on, there are more kills happening in this bottom side, and Huni is picking up so much farm here, and they have combinations in this team composition. When Dardoch shows up to a lane, Trundle pillars, you're going to be able to last breath off it. So as Huni gets ahead of the curve, it becomes scarier and scarier for FlyQuest, because right now, they're already 1.2k gold up, despite only being up a single kill on Fox's side.
I mean, even back at MSI, before we had all the crazy meta changes, we did see some Yasuo, and we would often see him paired with the Trundle simply because of the ease of enabling the ultimate through that pillar combination you're talking about. Dardoch going in there, stealing away the Grom.
I mean, he's level 5 to the level 3 that Santorin is, and this is kind of the rudest welcome you can have back into the NALCS for Santorin. He's being bullied around. His top lane and his bottom lane both had really unfortunate situations happen for them where they got exploited. And when he first shows himself on the map on the bottom side, it's countered. Sure, he gets the assist, but it's not the positive play that you want to have come down.
Keen going to be found here by the gank from Dardoch. Moving forward, has to flash away, avoids the ultimate coming out from the Irelia. Santorin showing up now, but he's going to be bursted down, taken very low, 1 for 1. Keen now trying to walk away from Dardoch, finds himself in melee range of the Troll King. Drops down the frozen domain, hops the wild growth from the side of Keen, looking to stay alive. Red Spike coming through. Dardoch still looking to make this one happen, but he can't do it. Keen wins the 1 for 1.
Keen comes up clean, and he gets the counter kill there, and that's the positive play that I was talking about. That's what you're looking for from FlyQuest to get them back into this game. And so far, it's been kills across the board for them that are spread out. All of their people, except for Kwon in the bottom lane support, have a kill to their name. So they're in a very good spot. And you're looking at the CS, and there really isn't a large discrepancy, save for the jungle, which I think it's okay to have it.
Okay, let's take another look at how this starts off here in mid lane. Keen going aggro.
Yeah, this is the classic just range champion versus melee in mid. One of the reasons that people didn't like to play bruisers before is low wave clear, but it's the kill pressure that they're trying to get here. Fenix gets the W off in time to absorb some damage from Santorin, and then gets the counter kill there. But then this 1v1, Dardoch, he's not level 6 just yet. He's pretty close, but Keen walks up, gets the knockup, now has the slow zone. Remember, the Lulu ultimate has a slow as an area, and so when Dardoch took a step back, it takes him even longer to get back in range to get those autos going again.
You can see on your screen right now, Zhao last seen week 4, day 2, 2015 in ALCS Summer. So a couple years back now, but Santorin brings him back to the North American LCS, 1-1 and 2 on the champ so far.
Long before your time in the NALCS, Flowers.
Stay a while and listen.
We had us in Zhao, but still, we're seeing it here, the phase rush and the Nimbus Book. Look at that!
Flash taunt coming out. Adrian looking to set this play up. There goes your pillar. Kwon still going to be in some trouble here. Huni wanting to go in even further. No last breath available. Still only level 5. Dardoch still tanking up on the front line. Turtle hobbling away as Santorin and Keen come in. The cavalry has arrived. The tongue lash goes through, but Echo Fox will get everybody away from this when they'll turn back towards the turret. Keen continuing to chase. Santorin right behind him, finds some slows. There comes that stab. Wind becomes lightning, and Huni may very quickly become dead if he does not get all the way back to that turret. Keen continuing to chase now, and FlyQuest wards him away.
And that was WildTurtle's TP back to help save the turret. But one of the things that they had to consider during that fight on FlyQuest side is that Altec had TP in top side, and Flame didn't. So if they ever went too aggressive in a fight and tried to kind of engage it, then Fox had the kind of the tools to make it an odd numbers fight in their favor.
Altec just continuing to try to push up here against Flame in the top side. Very even farm between these two. Both of these big tankety tanks on the team. And I can't just say the tank, because there's a lot of people that could be very tanky on the side of Echo Fox, but Mundo is the biggest meatball in the whole pot. So this guy, along with that Ornn, going to become those massive frontline units that both of these sides are going to be relying.
And when I look at the Dr. Mundo and just think about how much he has in terms of absorption of damage, I'm looking over at FlyQuest's composition, and I'm going, I don't know who's going to have enough damage in the mid-late game to deal with the Dr. Mundo. You have to get Grievous Wounds first and foremost. Kwon does have the Ignite, and so does Keen. But remember, Dr. Mundo got buffed. His level 16 ultimate gives him 100% of his maximum HP. So you need Grievous Wounds to even deal with him now. And so one of the reasons that we're seeing him again is that his ultimate just got buffed across the board, and it gives him so much more life, so much more survivability, so that before it was Grievous Wounds, you could kind of opt into it, and then when you bought it, it really shut him down. Now, it's if you don't have Grievous Wounds, then you're trolling, because
he just gets to do whatever.
So strong without it.
Huni now level 6 in the bottom side means they could look to set something up with a knock-up, whether it's enabled by Huni's own tornadoes or whether or not Dardoch can come down here and set something up with one of those pillars. It enables a whole new world of possibility and option on the side of Echo Fox. Does manage to land that one, but Turtle, not exactly the guy you want to go in on at full HP when he has the ulti available. FlyQuest starting up the Infernal Drake for themselves. Dardoch wants to make a move down here towards the bottom side, but he's going to find himself maybe in a bad fight. It's a 4 versus 3 right now. TP is going to be channeled from both sides. They're trying to chase down Echo Fox before anything gets too sketchy. Huni already taken out of the picture. Here comes your Ornn, and FlyQuest is going crazy in this one so far. Multiple bodies dead on the side of Echo Fox. A double kill for Keen. And the remaining 2 members head back to the safety of the turret.
They're going to keep going.
FlyQuest continues. 5 men strong. Dardoch will try to escape from this one. Santorin taken very low. Altec needs a little bit more damage to make it happen. It's only going to be a 1-for-1 trade. Dardoch runs away, but he's running towards enemy lines. All Kwon needs to do is give him the lick, and the damage will stick. Can he get out? Dardoch? I don't think so, man. I don't think it's going to happen. The Glitter Lance goes through. It finds the mark. Kwon just wants to give this one away all the way to the mid laner. All the gold over to him, and FlyQuest finds a fight.
FlyQuest with the turnaround there. Big part of that fight is Huni used his wind wall at the very beginning of it, and Flame's TP came in immediately after, so there's no way to block the follow-up from the Ornn ultimate coming down. When we see that again, that's really what you're looking out for there, because Fox started that fight. Remember, Echo Fox last split, they finished the regular season 2nd, they finished playoffs 3rd, but the big thing that was getting them was not just the bottom lane, it was the fact they went for really aggressive fights. Right now, they find themselves in a 3-on-4, and there's the win wall right there. So this now just gets continued. Flame shows up after they pull Huni back in, and then the 4 members find themselves in a 4-on-5 on Echo Fox's side, and then they just get to clean up from here. Beautiful play, especially from Keen in the middle of that fight. He picks up most of those kills. He's now 4-0-3, and they find themselves in a really good spot to start snowballing this game with that Lulu.
Team Lulu definitely a force to be reckoned with this time around. I got to give a bit of praise to Altec for making sure he took somebody with him there because he knew there was no way out. Echo Fox does end up getting late aced over the course of that play, and FlyQuest, despite the fact that it seems like they came away with such a big win there, Zirene, if you direct your eyes towards the gold count, 19.2 to 19.6 thousand, we're really not in that far a part of a game. They've got a lead, but that could disappear in an instant if Echo Fox's aggro can pay off in the next play they trade.
Yeah, and they do have some items coming through, but the Rod of Ages for WildTurtle completed. Also, I gotta direct your eyes over to the Banner of Command in the top lane. That still is in the game in 8-11, and so the Ornn can push out constantly with it. And now we see Keen, he's got 10 stacks on his Dark Seal. I can't remember the last time I saw a 12-minute 10-stack Dark Seal in professional play. It has been a hot minute, especially since you go. Yeah, I mean, should he upgrade it, right? Maybe that's potentially. But he does go for the Luden's Echo here. I think he has to go for Morella Nomicon to apply Grievous Wounds to Mundo later, and Trundle. And it also looks like there's a Blade of the Ruined King coming through for Huni. So he's not going for the Phantom Dancer first. More lane sustain since he's up against a lot of ranged champions. And Blade of the Ruined King did get a bit of a buff.
Yeah, there's plenty of reasons to go for Grievous Wounds on the side of FlyQuest this game. Just to deal with some of these mechanics is going to make that a necessity as FlyQuest brings Santorin into the mid lane. They grab the first turret. That's going to put some more gold in the pockets of this squad, get them up to about a 1,500 lead. Remember, Echo Fox did grab the Infernal Drake as they try to make a play on the bottom side here. Huni not quite going to find the Steel Tempest just yet. Adrian going in, able to find the taunt. Down into Kwon, going to be able to take him very, very low. Stopwatch keeps him alive an extra second. Thick Skin will do the same, but it's not going to be enough. Kwon tries to make it a 1-for-1, but he just can't do it, and Huni grabs the kill.
Rift Herald is kind of the counterplay here on the opposite side for FlyQuest. I don't think this is something that can actually be contested here. They're going to trade turrets, and you see the gold is even. Fox have the Infernal, but I think this, yeah, this is going to actually make the difference here with the Rift Herald going down for Santorin.
Santorin now bringing that one topside, seeing if they can combine that with the power of the banner to maybe get yet another turret to the side of FlyQuest, but Echo Fox has no intention of stopping bottom side either. Huni continuing to push this one up as Turtle makes his way back down to that turret. Altec will defend as long as he can underneath this tier 1. Shelly hurts like crazy when she can get onto that thing before she takes a lot of damage, and Altec is forced to see the objective.
Yeah, especially since the Lulu, since Keen has gone into the river, they don't know exactly where he is, so he has to back up. And that's another turret going over to FlyQuest. So far, they're starting off and saying, this is how you debut a new roster.
All right, let's take a look at this Ace or Predator replay, see exactly what's coming out in the bottom lane to set this one up.
Yeah, Huni doesn't quite hit the Q there, but the taunt flash from Adrian. Adrian and Huni have played on multiple teams together now. You go back to Immortals, they know how they want to play these engages. So this bottom lane, the synergy is there, and they make that engage happen. And I'm liking it, because there was a lot of criticism thrown Adrian's way, always kind of he's playing the supportive champions, he's not playing the engaged champions, he's more of the disengaged guy. But when you're alongside Huni, who's going to give you that confidence and say, we are going, then I definitely think you're hopping on that train.
Oh, you have to at that point. You can't play next to Huni and play just the Enchanter style, hang back, farm it out, because Huni's so aggressive. He's always looking to make some kind of a play.
And I think this gives Echo Fox kind of some flexibility in the future, because oh, hold on, Santorin.
Oh, Santorin gonna be found out here trying to deal with these guys in a 1 versus 3. It's not gonna happen just yet. He goes down. Huni's gonna be taken very low. Fenix also looking to fight Keen off to the side. Kwon grabbing the kill onto Huni as Adrian looks to escape, but he's escaping into the waiting arms of FlyQuest, who have found themselves a 2-for-1.
Now that's 5 kills over for Keen. Keen is doing work this game, and WildTurtle is picking up some kills himself. Santorin, they face-checked him. They brought some extra people with Kwon using the Abyssal Voyage. Another addition here to the roster in that bottom lane. And so far, it's working out. They're kind of saying, let's keep this pace up. We're looking at a game, 16 minutes, 18 kills. More than a kill per minute.
I am enjoying
as a play-by-play.
New state of the game, my friend.
I absolutely love it. And so, yeah, Santorin walks over. They face-check him, knocks Adrian away. Adrian does get the taunt over, though. But then that's enough time for Kwon to deliver WildTurtle, who walks past the wind wall to get the damage off on Huni. And meanwhile, the rest of the team was just sitting in that mid lane, pushing Fenix away, who blows his flash too.
And if he didn't, he would have died. I mean, you're looking at this guy hobbling away with 200 health right there. Definitely not a fight going Echo Fox's way as Turtle just continues to scale up here in the bottom lane, has the Haunting guys, has a stopwatch. Very critically, always got to keep my eyes on those items because they can catch you off guard so very easily if you're not prepared for that Zhonya's potential. Tornado comes through, still tempted, trying to clear away this massive wave. Buy a little bit more time for Adrian and Huni as Dardoch makes his way down to the bottom lane, discouraging any sort of a dive that FlyQuest may have been thinking about here. Keen will continue pushing up in the mid lane as well. Santorin in the enemy jungle, setting down some wards. FlyQuest continues to maintain control over the game in terms of the tempo, but again, I want to stress the fact that the gold is still so close. One fight can instantly turn something around.
Yeah, and it looks like 4-man strong with TP from Fly.
Adrian getting himself back. He goes for a knock-up, not quite going to find it. They do force a TP, however. Fenix showing up in the bottom lane, expending that summoner spell to make sure FlyQuest can't go any further.
Yeah, I like this power play from FlyQuest. Numbers advantage. Dardoch caught.
Dardoch in a little bit of trouble here. Wild Growth already going to be used onto Santorin. Another TP coming in. It's going to be Flame. Can he show up in time to do anything right here? Keen coming around from the side. Fenix looking to chase him down. It's 5 men from FlyQuest in the bottom lane. As Altec shows up, he had to walk his way down here. 13 seconds left before the wind wall from Huni will once again be available. Echo Fox does not want to give away this turret. Fenix looking to go in. He's able to find his way onto the stun, able to find the damage, able to grab the shutdown. Onto that, Lulu, it's 2 for the side of Echo Fox. As WildTurtle goes into that demonic ascension, but the only place he's going to ascend to is the spawn platform. Fenix makes it a 3-for-0.
And like you said, Fenix, he's the one who jumps in. He's the one who gets the initial stun onto Keen. He gets rid of a lot of those Dark Seal stacks and helps the fight start off on the right foot. Because you were talking about the Wind Wall was still down, and I don't know if that was communicated to Flame, because he had the Ornn ultimate. He could have blown that as soon as they TP'd through.
And now Echo Fox, they reap the benefits of that victory. They're on to tier 2 here in the bottom lane. This will tie things up, 2 turrets to 2 turrets, and it will actually put them 2,000 gold in the lead, 2 Infernal Drakes in the lead, and this is why I kept harping on the gold difference not being as big as it may seem. Adrian now trying to escape. Huni will look to do the same, but I don't think there's much of a way out right now. Huni trying to get out of this one. Crab using the wind wall, using the Scuttle Crab. Scuttle Crab. Oh, okay, I guess the shield blocked it.
Wait.
I don't, there's no, you can't traverse this. There's no way. There's no way he navigates this perfectly. You're gonna take at least one. Yep, he's out. It was almost a great escape.
But he got a turret.
They did get a turret on the side of Echo Fox. That bought them enough time for Altec to beat that thing down with a briefcase in the top side. Let's take another look at this play bottom.
Yeah, so the wind wall gets used very early on in this, and I thought they were going to re-engage and use the Ornn ultimate, but Dardoch gets very low. The wind wall on the right side is perfect, but that's where the wind wall goes down. And so right here, I thought Flame would throw down the horn and potentially engage if they come around. Even here is not a bad time to do so, but Altec was already running over, and then it was the re-engage. It was the cleaver into Fenix, queuing in, Eing, and getting the stun to get the first kill.
Now Echo Fox sitting on those 2 Infernal Drakes, sitting on the gold advantage that they have. You would think this is the team that's in the driver's seat. This is the team that we expect to see setting down vision, moving forward, looking to set up these plays, when for the last 5, 6, 7 minutes, it's been FlyQuest that have seemed like they've had the tempo advantage. And with Baron now spawning on the map, remember this Baron isn't quite as deadly and ferocious and insane as it had been a few patches ago. I'm interested to see how Echo Fox want to go about playing this, because if they do win another big fight, if they can make another one of those big calls, they could get some serious advantages from it. FlyQuest looking at the enemy jungle.
They're looking at each other. Apparently both teams really now know they have to focus around that Baron. And like you said, it's kind of how you want to approach this. Is it the Baron baits back and forth to make sure that it's vision control? But both teams, I actually think, have decent engage. You have the Shen taunts, you have Fenix who can go in and get the stuns, and then you have this as well.
Ornn comes through. Knock up onto 2. Dardoch and Adrian might be in a little bit of trouble here. Fenix into the back line, also going to be pressured now. Turtle going to be sitting on top of multiple people, channeling the Swain ultimate. Kwon goes down first. Fenix able to find that kill. Turtle sets off the explosion, but can't quite find anyone with it. Does grab Fenix there at the end of the day. Altec, though, rampaging into the back lines. Turtle taken low, Flame taken low, FlyQuest taken out, and that is your ace for Echo Fox.
Echo Fox, they don't even have to bait the Baron anymore. The team fight falls into their lap off the engage, and Echo Fox are now going to get themselves more than just this 4,000 gold lead.
And I want to go back to what we were talking about in Champion Select, talking about how the criticisms towards Echo Fox last split, there were many towards the bottom lane compared to the top half of the map. And we were saying, are these changes going to enable Altec and Adrian? And Altec runs crazy in this fight.
Yeah, this looks like it's going to be WildTurtle doing so much damage on this left side. But watch this right side. Keen actually gets soloed by Altec. Altec can't get past that pillar from Dardoch. He's stuck there. Flame has to even flash to get to the other side, and Altec is just cleavering away.
He's going where he pleases.
He's like, all right, I'm gonna just kill this guy. Kills him, and the Lulu that's fed can't contribute to that fight. And if he does, he's hitting this guy who has magic resistance, and it doesn't matter.
Another big win for Echo Fox. A 7,000 gold game now. Baron up on pretty much everyone, I believe, except for Fenix. He was the only one who fell in that fight, so the Irelia will not be able to channel that. Banner of Command also purchased now for Altec, so the possibility of the bannered up Baron minion just destroying everything in its way is very real. FlyQuest has a very tough task, Zirene, of somehow finding a way to stop it.
Yeah, stopping this, no minion dematerializers. Also, Flame's ultimate just came off cooldown, but if you want to have that hard engage, you're engaging into a bad fight against a team that's all melee, and if you want to reach it, you're going to take a lot of damage here, but that minion is going to help this all melee team close the game out.
See what they can do here. Remember, the wind wall still available for Huni. If they hear that Ornn horn go off, they can still deploy the wind wall and stop it in its tracks. One more shot from that minion will take the turret down, And now you're face to face with this ball of stats team running at you. Nothing to stop them. WildTurtle gonna be in some trouble. Gobbled up by Kwon, looking to keep him safe. Altec on the front line, but Mundo is just so hard to kill. They pour the damage into him, but it still won't do the job. Fenix on the back line finds Santorin. Flame's gonna be targeted next. The health bars can't survive, and FlyQuest is out of there. Echo Fox pushed the Nexus turrets. They'll push for the Nexus. And in 23 minutes, they'll show why this team is still such a strong contender.
And they don't want to just be contenders. They are saying hashtag it's our time.
And that was a fast time indeed. You were talking about 18 kills at 15 minutes or something along those lines, and Nexus in 23 is exactly how you would expect a game like that to end. I just took a look at the damage charts, and Huni putting in a lot of work on this Yasuo this game.
And it's funny too, because his Blade of the Ruined King build went into Phantom Dancer, went into Spectre's Cowl Kindle Gem, so he was getting a Spirit Visage next. Only really like one of those core crit items that you would typically see on a Yasuo. No Infinity Edge, goes tanky, and he still was able to dish out all that damage as he survived for so long in these fights.
And every single fight, he was never afraid to go in. He was always getting back in there, always trying to look to set things up. And I just want to see making sure that they've got themselves in a spot where they know which resources are available and which aren't. Because when things looked sketchy for this team, it was, remember when the wind wall was used early, like you pointed out in the bottom side. As long as they can clear up those communications and make it so everything's in the right spot there, this team could, again, look like a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, absolutely. They start clearing that up because they were in a good spot after some of those skirmishes. But I'm really excited about Echo Fox on the flip side here, because every time that Huni's on a team, except for, I guess, SKT, because that's Faker's team, right? Not Huni's team. Whenever Huni's on a team, it's almost like it's Huni's team. Yep. And everybody's got to support him. And that makes it so that the map becomes very lopsided, where the jungle learns how to gank the top lane over and over and over again. But now if you're swapping him roles, putting him bottom in different lanes, you can actually change the whole dynamic and throw off. If you're preparing for Echo Fox, you're going, okay, we're going to know how to play against top lane. Maybe we're going to counterpick top. We're going to set that up. And then they throw Altec up there on Dr. Mundo. Your entire practice is thrown out the window because Huni is now the biggest threat in the bottom lane, or even potentially mid. The guy knows how to play multiple roles.
And I want to also, again, praise Altec for the fact that on this Mundo, he did his job. He wasn't just sitting there saying, okay, I'm just trying to go to play Mundo and I'll try not to die. The man was able to find that flank onto Keen. He was able to do his job multiple times. He barely died. He was a force in the game as well.
And they even tried to dive off of his top lane pressure early on with Dardoch. So you're seeing Dardoch saying, even though the top laner is different, we're going to keep some of the same strats. But Echo Fox looked really good, and 23 minutes, 50 seconds should basically tell you everything you need to know.
An awesome opener from this squad, but now we're going to send things down to Avali, who's with, for at least this game, the Echo Fox carry in the bot side.
Thanks, guys. Huni, congratulations on that victory and breaking out Yasuo into the bot lane. What was it like having a lane partner, and how do you prepare for those role swaps?
Yeah, I mean, it's like not normal. Not like used to be. There was no rule swap, right? And we just decided there was a lot of people that doing like Irelia bottom or the Yasuo bottom, and I feel like I'm not only who that like actually can play really good at the board, and also my just Yasuo and Irelia is like always been clean like more than 3 years, right? So that's why I pick it up.
Are there possibilities of us seeing you around the other parts of the map?
I mean, yeah, why not? You guys will see this summer. I'm excited for that.
Great. Well, this game really looked like both teams were playing on the new patch. We had like a really diverse cast of champions. What encouraged Fox to bring out all these new strategies today?
I mean, while we practice, we always had like trying to be like be on ahead of meta. So that's why like I think we just like try a lot of stuff, and then it actually feels like we work a lot. And also, Altec used to play a lot top, right? So he played Mundo really clean, and he was like at the practice that he was like solo killing enemy, like something like that stuff. And then there was like more crazy stuff, but that I cannot say it on the stage. So just you guys gotta watch the Echo Fox game, and then yes.
So speaking to the meta, a lot of pros have had really strong opinions on whether they think it's a good meta or a bad meta. What do you think?
I mean, it's my meta.
It's your meta. I'm excited to see what else you have for us. Thank you so much for the interview. Congratulations. And for everyone else, let's hear back from the analyst desk.
Thank you very much, Avali. You heard it from the man himself. It's his meta. But again, to me, it was just so fun to watch this game when we're talking about at the beginning of the day, what's more important, the player on the champion or the player in the lane that they are most comfortable in? Huni answers the question. It's the player on the champion, regardless of the lane.
And it was one of those things, like, in draft, when we saw Altec with the Mundo, it was just like, oh, Mundo bottom doesn't really make sense. Like, the matchups are much better if he's top. And then we're like, he's probably going top.
He's probably going top, exactly. And so that's, you know, that's exactly what happens. And so I kind of want to dive into this because there's a lot of conversation around how both teams and coaches should be drafting for their squads. And I think that Echo Fox, to some degree, intelligently drafted this time around, knowing their players' strengths.
Right, and I also want to say, looking at these two compositions, if we're looking at them 2 or 3 months ago, both compositions have fatal flaws. So Echo Fox is running 5 melee champions into a Swain, into a Lulu, into an Ornn. These things that can excel in AoE when you were grouped up. However, you look at the other side of the matchup, and we have FlyQuest with no consistent physical damage and lacking consistent magic damage against a Mundo and a Trundle, who are 2 super tanks, also something you would have as a fatal flaw. So in this case, it was actually a matter of scaling. Once you become unkillable, you're still able to win, even though you're running 5 melees into a Swain. So it's just that next level of thinking, I think, is so difficult to do. Because when I first saw 5 melees, my first reaction was, well, that was dumb. But eventually it ended up outscaling and working.
I still think it comes down heavily to execution, though. I mean, running through level 1, dying, we think, okay, this is horrible for their bot lane, but then these skirmishes continue to break out on the bot side, and you see this temporary advantage before that scaling advantage came in for the Echo Fox comp. That was actually a pretty good game for FlyQuest, but they just are not as good of a team as Echo Fox. They spend all this time chasing this kill with an Infernal Dragon up and a bot turret to take. A horrible waste of their own time, and they don't actually snowball their advantage, so even though it's an even gold state at this point, that scaling advantage Jat was talking about, that fatal flaw starts to overtake the other one.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, we saw in that level 6, level 7 fight kind of the idea that without getting the point of magic resistance, it was very easy for WildTurtle to kind of mow everyone down from an AoE standpoint. But as soon as those first couple magic resist items come in for the side of Echo Fox, and you're incapable of killing that Yasuo, he runs right through the team fight. And so in this role swap, the top of the day, I asked you two, which were the 2 players that you were most interested seeing play, with the current craziness running around the pro scene. We had WildTurtle on one side, we had Huni on the other, and then lo and behold, they end up in the same lane against each other. Huni comes out on top this time around, once again, calling out that it is his meta, so I would expect him to play to some degree of mastery. But overall, how is our feeling about the way that Huni played in the bot lane and the fact that kind of relegates Altec to the top lane of all things?
Huni, assuming we don't see drastic changes to pull us out of what we're seeing, will play 4 different roles in the LCS this split, as far as like where he's positioned on the map. He could be a super jungler, like a Graves or a Yi. He could play any of the stuff mid that also gets more farm, because when you look at that team, like, who are you going to give your farm to? It's going to be Huni, and you can
Dardoch
Dardoch
can play carry jungler. If you tell me he can't play Cherokee,
that's going to be a fun discussion. Like, if you need Dardoch and Huni, and one of them has to give all the farm to the other,
I just don't know what Dardoch's going to do. Like, if you put him in the jungle for Huni, where's Dardoch going?
He goes top and plays Trundle.
I guess.
Or he also plays Mundo. Everyone's learning how to play Mundo. Everyone is playing Mundo.
In that case, they're putting Adrian on the 5, like the least farmed champion, and he's going to be doing it. Like, it seems like this team is willing to do that more so than other teams.
Well, I mean, Huni has always been the experimenter, right? The Lucian top. And so it makes perfect sense to me that Echo Fox would be happy to exist in this version of League of Legends, knowing that, hey, everyone on that team is willing to try something different.
And that's kind of to your point earlier in the day about the more cohesive you are as a 5-man team, the more willing you are to try things and find strategies that work for you. If you guys are groaning about like, oh God, I don't want to try Mundo top for Huni, then maybe these kinds of strategies never develop. But if a team is willing to sacrifice for a player like that.
So this brings us to a larger conversation, though, within the league, which is, particularly as a coach, I want to look at it maybe from the top-down structure of the organizations. How do I attack practice? How do I attack building strategies for a professional scene in which I have a player like Doublelift who is incredibly good at marksman, 80 carries, right? But do I tell him that he's got to spend the next 3 months learning how to play Vladimir, or do I just move him?
Well, so for me, this is actually a really weird position for a coach to be in because, you know, we kind of talked about, oh, it's a lot about coaches, and I think Tony even tweeted out coach difference, this split, and things like that. But I actually think this is a time where coaches aren't as influential because you are relying so much more on player input than you probably ever had to that point. So, you know, the fact that you probably can't just decide who does what, like, oh, you need to play these many games on this champion. It's like, can that player even learn that? And that's something that I feel like the coach, their job much more is to make sure the practice environment is as good as it can be, less so than being the teacher that they sometimes are expected to be. You can still watch a ton of VODs, but you're not the one figuring out the matchups. You have to trust your players so much more.
Yeah, I still think coaches are more important now than they would have been 3 months ago. And it depends on what expectations you're having on the coach. Because I think the outside world has this perception the coaches are these masterminds of League of Legends that understand how to play all 5 roles and are telling them, oh, you messed up that CS. No, actually, coaches are decision makers, facilitators, and they help drive people towards decisions. Having the game knowledge and being able to gather the information, not putting the 10 hours of your day into pressing your buttons properly, and instead using that knowledge to coordinate everything, I still think makes it a more important role than it's ever been. Yes, your players have to be able to help you and feed you good information, but I think it's more important than ever.
I would say you're relying so much more on player input than you ever could before. Just because the matchups are so different, you will not get conclusive, this is how that matchup was supposed to play. Whereas before, I could be like, Gnar versus Camille, you should have been up 10 CS in the first 10 minutes before the matchup flipped for the Camille.
The player's not going to know that, the coach isn't going to know that, but over time, depending on how big you can grow your analyst network as well, that's another thing where coaching staff...
So there could be an argument that, quite obviously, there's less accepted knowledge in the League of Legends scene and the pro League of Legends scene right now. And so as a coach, you have less of a go-to, a dictionary of like, well, I know this to be true, so I'm going to dictate the way my team plays or build strategies based on that. Instead, what you're saying here is that it's more about, okay, I got to take in the information as my players give it to me, but I still have to facilitate and or mold the best decision as it would be for my set of 5 guys?
Yes, and the decision matters a lot because we know every player wants the ball. Every player wants to be the one with a lot of farm. You need to be able to find your player's strengths and actually overrule them in the right situation.
It's just harder to do that. The overruling part is why I'm concerned.
All right, I want to continue this discussion another time. We are running out of time here, so we've got one more game before we wrap up day 1. Game 5 is Golden Guardians versus Optic Gaming. See what they break out when we come back.